me record this. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning or evening, depending on our time zones, right?
Yeah, South Korea, it's what, 7:30 at night? I think it's 7:30 at night where he's at. I'm at well, 6:30 a.m.
6:30 a.m. It feels
Are you,
good being up early. I love it.
yeah, I like starting the day early. Are you in South Florida or Arizona? South Florida.
South Florida, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Arizona would be even earlier.
Yeah,
That'd
they
be
go.
awesome.
You're an
I'd
early
be like,
bird.
it's 2 in the morning. No, I guess it'd
Yeah.
be what, 4:30.
What time is it there?
It's either 4:30 or 3:30 a.m. because they don't do the time change, which I kind of like. They're
You
always in
like
the
that.
same time zone. Yeah.
Yeah. How about you? South Korea.
Oh, it's 7:30 p.m. here. Yeah, thank you for
Nice.
showing up.
So you already had your dinner, relaxed.
I did, yeah.
Yeah. So I got John on the line, and yeah, the reason why this came about it was we did a miracle, and we were talking about the book. The book came up. He said he had gotten the book, and he resonated with a lot of what you were saying, John. So maybe just share with John what you told me.
Yeah, I was after reading the book, I realized I'm surrounded by abundance. I am abundance. And also your story of trading stocks out of intuition was so inspirational because it was my dream to live like that.
Very cool. I'm honored to be here joining you guys. And yeah, that's I love stocks, one of my favorite things to talk about. I love the amount of money that's circulating in this beautiful system of people basically helping build other businesses and ideas up. And that experience for me really solidified. I don't know if you're familiar with Abraham Hicks, but she offers this concept that everything you do will reflect the state of being you're in. And you know your state of being by how you feel emotionally. So she explains why sometimes people will repeat the action that another person took exactly, but get a completely different outcome because you can only get outcomes from your action that reflect the emotional state you're in. So, a lot of times, from the human perspective, from the ego perspective, you think if I go left or if I go right, I'm going to get different outcomes. If I'm understanding these teachings and my own personal experience, it doesn't matter whether you go left or right. It only matters how I feel whether I'm going left or right. And I'm going to get the same damn outcome whether I go left or right. It'll be horrible if I feel horrible. It'll be wonderful if I feel wonderful. Truly, there is no wonderful or horrible. But that example for me just solidified it. I knew I woke up that morning in the most blissful state. And every morning now I'm consistent with my stocks, and from that blissful state it was just the intuition, or it was really just we recognize reality as a mirror, so it was reflecting me to that state. And then Abraham also uses this quote all the time: the better it gets, the better it gets, the better it gets, and the worse it gets, the worse it gets, the worse it gets. So it was just getting better and better. I was like, whoa, that first trade hit massively. And then I was like, I'm gonna recycle this trade, and then it hit again, and the momentum was just spiraling up, spiraling up, spiraling up. And it was by far my craziest day. And then the game in the future becomes too, I remember that state, but when I play, not insisting to, attempt to bring about that experience again, realizing that insistence can actually be the downfall. Why is it not happening? And then you start to like slip down this slope really quickly. But it was such a good example. It doesn't matter whether you go left or right. It only matters how you feel, and you'll basically get the same outcome whether you turn left or right. Do you play with stocks, or do you like I guess everyone likes intuitive action, right?
Yeah, because I work in finance, mostly investments, and I have to produce like slides worth 70 pages to make one investment. Meanwhile, other people just just buy it and make a living out of it. And I always thought this whole, the traditional finance system isn't really efficient, and there is a way to make money much easier. And your story just, yeah, it was so inspirational.
Appreciate it. Dr. Joe Dispenza, I don't know if you've heard of him. he offers a relevant perspective on this, and he offers the idea you can operate as the ego, thinking you're a physical body in a physical world, and change matter to matter. So, right, you want to make the best investment financially, you analyze years worth of data, you're going like human perspective in a physical world made of matter, looking at matter to get a matter outcome. Totally valid. That's what we've all been shown and what we've all been doing for years. Once you recognize I am consciousness and all matter is essentially a hologram, it's a projection of my own consciousness, then it becomes really fun to recognize you can create consciousness to matter and bypass that whole struggle of matter to matter. And I love that idea by constantly, I was listening to some of the call you had with Rob. The thoughts arise, they seem to really arise spontaneously. Where my decision in lies is, am I going to grab onto this thought, or because it feels good and I recognize I like that character element, or am I just going to let it float by saying, yeah, I see you, but you kind of have no relevancy to what I prefer my character to do. So by constantly grabbing onto the thoughts associated with what feels good, the more I play around with this, the more I see physical reality starts to reflect the holding of those good feeling thoughts on whatever topic in whatever way I'm holding on to them in the physical reality. And it's so much more efficient than the matter to matter model. Though sometimes it is fun to go matter to matter, right? Like I like sweeping the floor. I like, yeah, doing some electrical work and putting actual screws in. Like that could feel really good too, but it's all up to us.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of resonates. I mean, just thinking, and I think when we were talking, he was saying how like when you're doing the stocks, how it lights you up and how you're doing it like from an intuitive thing as you're doing the day trading. Maybe talk more about that, like when you're in that flow, that intuitive way, that you're picking the stocks or you're feeling, when to sell it, when to buy it. Like, does it feel like something's coming through you like intuitively, like when to do that or
It's primarily almost like observing without thought, my body just acting. And I recognize another person I draw from a lot is Rupert Spira, who says from the physical ego
Mhm.
body and a physical world perspective, there really is no decision. Your decision is in the consciousness plane of how you're going to feel. And when you're feeling a certain way, I've tested this and I find it to be true. The physical body takes actions that reflect the emotional state. And
Yes.
then you'll do something and be like, oh, I made the wrong decision. No, there really was no physical decider making a physical decision in a physical world. It was you making a decision in the consciousness of how you're going to feel and what you're going to believe. And then the character is essentially playing it out. And you can see how it gets better and better or worse and worse for someone when they start to attribute the characteristics that they think their avatar is making in decisions when really there is no physical decider because there is no physical person. So that the stocks are another example for me to really see this in experience for me, because really there's no rhyme or reason. Like from matter to matter, you can look back at logic. Do we lose June?
Jensen, you there?
Jensen, sorry.
Where you at? Keep going though. I'm sure he'll join back in.
All right, outstanding. So yeah, the recognition that it doesn't, from a consciousness perspective, there really is no logical sequence of events because there is no time. There's just the constant reflection and then the belief that the action I previously made brought about the circumstances that currently are. Um, so I see that in physical action occur, and it
Cool.
feels so good to recognize all I need to do is feel good and focus on the beliefs that empower me.
Yeah, so it's just all about feeling good in the body and then listening to when you're feeling good because it has to do with your state of being that you're in, and then that's what reality is reflecting. So if you can be in tune with that, you can really get intentional.
100%. The meditation I was doing this morning, I love that I can do the same meditations 100 times. And almost every time I'll hear or I perceive that I'm hearing a new phrase that I haven't heard before, or I'm hearing it in a new way. And it's so fun and exciting. And that's showing to me how this game of expansion of the character is going to go on forever. And I love that. And I want that. But in a meditation I was doing this morning, a Dr. Joe Dispenza meditation, he was saying, your state of being is your
Hold on one second.
personality.
He's coming back in.
Oh, outstanding.
Jensen's coming back in, huh?
Jensen.
I clicked admit, so let's see.
The technology is amazing how many
I
miles apart we
know.
are and that we can connect like this.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just like his internet, but no, God, keep going. I'm sure he'll keep trying to get in.
So Dr. Joe Dispenza's core premise is your personality creates your personal reality. That's it. That's like his core premise that he always comes back to. And he says your personality is composed of your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions. So a lot of these other guides and teachers I appreciate use the term state of being, but in this morning's meditation, Dr. Joe Dispenza, I heard him saying, your state of being is your personality. And really, your thoughts are questionable whether they can actually be chosen or not, but they can, as they arise, they can be taken on as representative of me, even though we know I'm actually not my thoughts. But in the character game, I can latch onto them and say, yeah, that thought's me, or I can let them float by. So the emotions or the state of being really seems to be everything, because that's the actual like dashboard indicator telling me if the thought I'm choosing to hold is beneficial to my character or not. And understanding that whole like sequence that it all really starts with state of being is everything.
Yeah, it seems like it's just matching up in the reality. I've seen that too, time and time again. Like if you're on that frequency of joy, of appreciation, when you're in that state of being, and that's kind of like what's mirrored back in your life experience. There'll be synchronicities, that would just arise. There would be, opportunities that would just arise like effortlessly. It's not even like you have to strive, out to go get it. It just kind of shows up. It actually comes to you, which is different than, previously when you don't recognize that. Sometimes people aren't aware of what their state of being is. They might not realize that they're being stressed or they're anxious or they're angry. And then, they're trying and they're striving to get results and outcomes, but they don't realize that, the state of being that they're presenting to this field of attraction, what it is. And then they're wondering why they're not getting the results. It's because they're not in tune, or they don't realize. Some people, nobody's really explained it to them. They didn't have that knowledge that their state of being is what's being reflected into the reality.
100%. I constantly come back to the core that understanding is really everything. We chose to forget like who we are and what we are, and the remembering and understanding of that is the key to unlocking everything, and the recognition that it's all state of being. I love the flat earth, round earth analogy. Our experience is undeniably that the earth is flat. If we trusted our five senses, you would think someone's nuts to say the earth is anything other than flat. But when you gain more understanding, it changes everything.
Oh, we have a special guest joining us here. There he is, special guest.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. We thought maybe John was boring you,
Yes.
and you said, "Oh no."
No. I couldn't handle the your energy because like it's my work laptop, and it's probably saying, you have to work hard. Well, what is he saying there? Just crash
That's
itself.
great. What perfect timing.
That's actually a really good example, Jensen. I see this a lot experientially when I'm feeling really good or I'm being exposed to new like understandings or perspectives that my emotions are getting juiced and excited about. So I recognize, hey, that's the direction you want to go. All of the sudden, something will shift in my reality, which I mean, you could define as like bad or unpreferred, but really I see this experientially when I'm jumping emotional states. Something very frequently reacts. Someone will suddenly get really mad. A car will crash nearby me. like I'll lose a connection. And at first, I used to think I was doing something wrong, but now I've seen this pattern repeating so much, I see it as a good thing and recognize it as a sign, almost like you're changing the TV channel. There's like a second of blackness, or at least in the 90s when I was raised, when we like changed the TV station because it was broadcast, there'd be like a moment of blackness before it tapped into the new frequency. And I see this a ton. And now I get really excited because I see it as an indicator. Oh, sweet, I just flipped a channel. It might be a couple degrees of frequency or it might be a huge leap. I don't know. I don't care, but I know I'm going in the right direction. It's funny you point that out.
Wow. So amazing. It literally just blacked out for a minute and then scratched itself. Wow.
Yes.
Amazing.
It's pretty cool. We can be so many miles apart too and be able to communicate in this way. I love technology.
Yes.
What's Jensen, what's your main excitement in life? Like what fires you up more than anything?
Like Rob asked me the same question like a few weeks ago, and I haven't really thought of it. And but the idea of expressing this infinite being to the world, and in my case, it's probably Koreans. Yeah, that really excites me. Yeah.
I totally relate with you. That's when people are like, "Who are you?" I'm like, "I'm an average guy who's really interested in what consciousness is and what reality is." And having conversations like this, like when Rob asked me, "Hey, you want to join a call tomorrow morning?" I was like, "Yes," because I recognize it juices me up. And what better way for me to start my day than with a conversation like this where we can amplify our understanding. While you were off the call for a sec, I was mentioning to Rob, one of my favorite analogies is the flat earth, round earth analogy, and recognizing that your understanding and focusing in on that understanding is everything. Because experientially, from the five senses, my experience is the earth is flat. And I'd say anyone's crazy to say it's not flat. Like I see it, I feel it, I sense it, like it's flat, but we know it's actually a globe. So with that understanding, I recognize global positioning is a real thing. I recognize satellite communication is a real thing. I recognize Mars and space travel is a real thing. So it opens up a whole new realm of possibility. And the more we study the round earth and play with that and the technologies, it creates all new experiences from that understanding. So I see this amplifying of our understanding that really this is just consciousness. We're having an experience and we can direct the experience is doing the same thing. It's opening a gateway for us to have completely new experiences as like an ego character in consciousness. So I appreciate this very much. Is there a particular like niche or angle that fascinates you most, or just overall?
Maybe I was always interested in like bending reality. Like I always thought there is a way, there is an easy way to, accomplish all these material things, but I couldn't really manifest any of it. But I deep down I knew there is a way.
I see so many people have that intuition. I had like a meditative experience where I saw that when we operate purely as consciousness, we place a thought on something and the experience immediately comes about. So I see this human experience as the ultimate challenge that we chose for ourselves because all consciousness knows it has to do is place its thought on something to get the experience. And we know that deep down. And all of a sudden, we wind up in a place or basically in a vibrational pattern where we do what we know we can do. And all of a sudden, we don't get the experience that we know has to come. We've created this idea of separation, this idea of time lag, this idea of space intentionally. It's the most amazing creation. And this is the most amazing challenge, I think, that consciousness knows of. So I tip my hat to you both for having chosen this with me. And I see that same excitement in myself.
It's like empowering too, John, to know that, like previous to that, a lot of people they don't feel empowered, that they can intentionally, have the reality that they want. And so then they experience a lot of frustration, a lot of anger. Or there's a lot of people right now that are caught in their 9 to 5 job, and they want to get out of it because they want to give their gift to the world. They want to be able to, like Jensen, he wants to be able to express this full time. He wants to replace that 9 to 5 job so that he could do what he loves. But a lot of times, people are stuck in their 9 to 5 because they're trying to pay their bills and stuff like that, and they're going to jobs that they don't like. So, what advice could you give to people that are in situations like that?
So one technique, and I recognize every technique is just a permission slip to changing my own consciousness. But one technique I have been loving so much lately is every time I'm about to start a new activity, I literally take out a piece of paper and I wrote what, why, and time. What am I about to do? And why am I about to do it? And when I write why I'm about to do it, I'm giving it a positive meaning. And it was very easy, for instance, for this call. But before I got on this call, I did the same thing. What am I about to do? I'm about to chat with Rob and Jensen. Why am I about to do it? Because I love to focus in on consciousness and broader understanding of what reality is, who I am, what I'm doing here. And by amplifying it, not only do I feel good, but I reinforce my understanding. I shift my paradigm. I shift my life. How long am I doing it? 1 hour. You could do that even with a job or a family reunion or whatever you're about to do that you initially think you're not going to appreciate. Stop and intentionally give it a positive meaning before you go into it, because we know, or I know from Bashar, channeled by Daryl Anka, the gift of this ego human experience is that it's meaningless. Life is meaningless. And the gift is we were each designed to give it meaning. And the meaning we give it is the effect and the experience we're going to get out of it. So again, flat earth, round earth, no, you always want to give everything you're doing a positive meaning, because if you give it a positive meaning, you'll get a positive effect to the degree you believe it. But at least by practicing that idea of giving everything a positive meaning, you're going to increase probabilities and actually start to see outcomes of that positivity. So a victim would say, I gotta go to work. I don't want to go there. That's the victim perspective. We all need to drop into the creator perspective. Even if I initially say I don't want to go to work, I'm deciding right now I am choosing to go to work because I'm the creator of my reality. I'm giving it a positive meaning. I get to work with a great team of people. I get to make money from it. I get to go to a new environment, which I enjoy. There's appreciative aspects everywhere you can focus in on. It's just a matter of taking the time to focus in on them and setting that meaning for what you're about to do. And then a second aspect to that is in your free time, which arguably everyone has some. I've seen the power in my life in taking a little bit of action towards what I want. For example, doing these Zoom calls with you and recording them, writing the book, like those little steps I
That was
can
fun.
take to act on the excitement to move that direction.
Yeah, so it's almost like just focusing on being okay with the now, whatever it is that you're doing now, finding peace, with the now, and then those things tend to get amplified, like when you're enjoying the now, and then next thing you know, your surroundings are all about what you allow into it, and that you would have really wanted anyway.
That's pivotal. Resisting what is experientially from me has proven to me there's no benefit whatsoever to resisting what is. There's a million different tools and techniques for becoming okay with it. Lately,
Yeah.
I've been embracing discomfort. I've been playing around with things like taking ice cold showers, running an extra mile beyond what I normally do, purely for the practice of putting myself in something that's uncomfortably physically, emotionally, but knowing I chose to put myself in a safe but uncomfortable circumstance for the practice of realizing discomfort can't harm me. It's not going to harm me. It's almost like these new submarines they build. As the pressure clamps down on the submarine, the material the submarine's made out of actually becomes structurally stronger and starts pushing back with more force against the pressure of the water. And I use that analogy in my mind to say, yeah, I'm intentionally going deeper to build the pressure because I know, like steel, or like this new material, it's actually strengthening me. And when I come back up, I'm that much stronger and that much more willing to be okay with discomfort in the moment. So someone's upset with me. So, whatever crashed. So it's not the end of the world. It's not a
Not
big
that
deal. Like I
serious,
can
right?
handle this. Yeah. And proving to yourself, it's just not that nothing's really that big of a deal. Even we know croaking is not even that big of a deal. Like we're consciousness, we're having an experience. We can't cease to be,
Yeah,
which
from that
it's
perspective, yeah, it's a lot. Like, what do you think about what John's saying, Jensen?
Yeah, it's it's very inspirational because yeah, after reading your new book and I've realized the importance of the gratitude. I've done that practice like a few years ago, reading The Magic by Rhonda Byrne, but I kind of did it. I kind of did the lip service of all these practices. So of course nothing happened. But after reading your book, I realized I'm surrounded by abundance. I am abundance, and there's so much things to appreciate, and that could shift my experience. Yeah.
you have such a genuine vibe,
You know,
Jensen, and how
doesn't it?
you
It's like
express
so
yourself.
authentic. I love that
I
about
feel
it.
you. I feel you, bro. It's awesome. And yes, that's so honest. And I had the same recognition within myself where I saw my appreciation was lip service or maybe unworthiness. Thank you so much for, right? There's different energies, different ways of experiencing appreciation and gratitude. And yeah, it's like anything. The more you practice, the better you get. The more you practice an instrument, the more you practice a trade or a skill, the better you get. Appreciation is actually a skill, or so I found it to be. And the more I practice, the better I get, the easier it becomes. And even if you're a matter to matter type person who sees through the perspective of a physical brain, interpreting a physical reality, there's a part of the brain, and I think it'll come to my mind during this conversation, but scientifically, they've proven there's a part of the brain that as you begin to focus in on things, the brain selectively starts sifting for more of those things that match the original focus. So you go car shopping for, red Hondas, and you've been doing that for a week, all of a sudden there's a part of the brain as you're driving around and going on your day to day that starts keying in on all the red Hondas. And you're like, huh, I didn't realize there were so many red Hondas out there. But because I placed the intention or started practicing or focusing in on that, the physical brain is selectively sifting for that
It's
from a
like your
broader
reticular, that's
perspective.
like your reticular activation
Yes.
system. Yeah.
Turns out I didn't need to think of it because my bro Rob got me. That's
It's
the
called the
reticular
reticular
activating
activation
system.
system.
And there's a perfect example too. A lot of times we've been shown that we need to do it all, this ego idea, it all comes through me. Reality, from another perspective, is a complete collaboration. It's all me. There's no separation, or your reality
Right.
is all you.
It's all one.
It's
Yeah.
reality's here to play and collaborate with you. Someone else giving you the answer you need just at the right time is what reality is all about from my perspective. Is the collaboration, is the fun.
Yeah, something else you said too is about a lot of times like we're using our words like if we're doing the gratitude like we're just trying to convince ourselves and we tell ourselves, oh, I feel good, I feel great, I appreciate this coffee, I appreciate this table. But if it's really the energy behind the words because the universe is really the law, even the law of attraction, it's reading your vibration, the vibration that you're giving. It's not so much the words, but it's the energy behind it. It's the vibration that you're presenting to the field of attraction. That's what it's reading, not so much your words, but it's really reading that vibe or that energy that's behind the words. And that's what's getting mirrored out that you're seeing in your life experience. So you really can't like fake it with the words. You really got to like find a way to feel really good now. Like abundance is feeling good now, feeling abundant now, and then it matches it up in your life experience. You have to find a way to feel it now.
Yeah. And recognize the feeling actually is the thing I desire most. The the place where I see myself get confused most often, and maybe other people too. I feel really good, and then I do what Abraham calls taking score. I look out there and say, I'm feeling really good, let's see what's happening in my physical reality to prove to myself that I'm feeling good. And then I don't see anything, and then use that as a opportunity to judge myself. And then it starts this downward spiral. So recognizing I feel good, I already have the gold. It's better than gold because most of us are just using physical gold for the emotional feeling of wealth. It's so cool to recognize I can have the feeling of wealth without actually possessing physical gold, and I can keep doing that. And sooner or later, it literally is the law. The physical reality has to reflect it. And I have no doubt all of us in our lifetime will recognize our consciousness to the point where instant manifestation does become possible, where you can turn a glass of water into wine because you recognize it's all vibration, it's all a hologram, just like pixels on a computer screen. The screen doesn't care what color the pixels are. It's we're assigning meaning to water or wine, but the screen just sees red or clear pixels and it'll respond to our vibration. And I am excited to live in a world where everyone knows who they are, infinite, indestructible, eternal creators, and we can all play through that paradigm.
Love that. What do you think about that, Jensen? What he said?
Yeah, it's so amazing.
Anything he said there resonate with you in your maybe life situation or anything?
Yeah, I told Rob that I was going through a breakup, and all of a sudden today, like my boss set up a blind date with a another, with another girl, and it's just amazing how life's abundant. There's so much opportunity, and yeah,
That's a cool example. That's like your bro pulling out reticular activating system just when you need it. You
Yeah.
like surrender, chill out, and then everyone's here to collaborate with you and support you. I mean, unless the perspective insists the world is competitive and
Yeah.
everyone's evil and angry, like you can get that experience, but only because here's the paradox. The only reason you can get an evil world is because everyone's willing to comply with your perspective. So if you
wow,
beg everyone to be angry to you, they'll be angry to you, but only because they actually love you and want to support you in whatever you say they are. I love that
wow.
understanding is the release to me. But that's a great example. Your boss has already
I know that is so
got
cool.
your back.
Yeah.
I'd love to go to that kind of job where my boss has got my
Yeah, my
back like
boss is
that.
hooking me up on a. Can you imagine that? Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Like
some positive
he was
aspects
always
right where
saying
you're
like
at.
I could set up a blind date with someone like for 2 years now, and he didn't do that for 2 years, and all of a sudden today, out of nowhere, he just set me on, and
Yeah, and just looking at the perspective, like on the miracle, he was expressing this, and he was saying, and I was just pointing out, hey, this could just be like a new opportunity for you. You know,
Mm,
it's just all the perspective that you have on it. A breakup, some people could be devastated by it. Other people can, have the perspective, hey, the universe has something better for me out there. This could be a new opportunity. So who knows where this is? This may be a better vibrational match for you, or better for your life.
Yeah. Wow, very, very cool. That's like an instant manifestation. It's almost like your consciousness is proving to itself
Yes.
that this actually all works and that reality does totally have your back. You must have been in a a good feeling, emotional state in response to it, being like, recognizing it's all right to get that reflection back.
yeah, I was very neutral after breakup, and almost excited. I told Rob about it.
Yeah.
I wasn't like this like before realization. I used to cry for an hour to talk to friends, but I was very neutral. I was almost excited, and it was at that point I was reading your new book, so I was yeah focusing up on this anyways, and this just happened.
You gave it a positive meaning and then a positive reflection. I was listening to some salesman lately on YouTube, and I was recognizing what their actual perspective was. They were in a belief system that sales is just a numbers game, which certainly it can be. And so they were recognizing, hey, on average, every 50 people I talk to, I get a sale. So they're like, I'm super excited to get out there and start getting rejections as fast as I can,
Love
because
that.
the faster I get 50 rejections, I get my sale.
Yeah,
So they were
perspective.
loving and basking in rejections, happily making, talking about making phone calls and sending emails, trying to get as many rejections as possible, because they're like, if I can get 500 rejections, that means I got 10 sales today. And so you see the empowerment in that perspective, and how you can generate good feeling emotions from rejection. Literally, um, they're assigning meaning to it. What am I doing? Why am I doing it? Because the rejections equal success.
That's awesome. What else, Jensen, resonates? What else could we ask John today? Because Jensen wants to get to the point where he's going to be doing interviews. he's going to be he's going to be talking about self. He's going to handle the people in South Korea, all the people that want to realize their true nature. This is what he's passionate about: is sharing this and be able to express this. So here's your opportunity to, say you're on a mirror call with somebody, and you're talking to them. What would you say?
Okay. You shared your experience of healing of your diseases, and by watching one of the videos of Joe Dispenza, and you mentioned about the importance of having a coherent thought to get a healthy body. So could you explain more about like incoherent thoughts we normally have?
Yes. And I borrow the majority of my understanding of coherence from Dr. Joe Dispenza, who was my gateway. My definition of coherent would be a thought and an emotion that match. So we were talking about, before, the idea of fooling yourself into appreciation. I'm having the thought, thank you so much for this, but then I'm having a feeling that doesn't match with it. That would be my definition of incoherence. So paradoxically, you could actually have coherent discord. You could be thinking, I'm going to lose all my money, and you could be feeling the fear. And that actually is a coherent signal and a coherent vibration to create a reality of lack and scarcity that matches that. So it's a matter of getting the thought and the emotion to match within a vibrational state that you prefer, which everyone would arguably probably say is abundance. Although who knows? I mean, people are here for all sorts of reasons, to explore all sorts of things. So it's playing around internally with tools, techniques, and yourself. For me, it's just continually playing with the thought until I find some technique, some process, some way of doing things to get that emotion to match up with it. And then knowing, I mean, we all know when we're in that sweet spot. Athletes could call it like the zone. I mean, when I'm trading, I feel like I'm there sometimes too. The thought, whoa, like I'm a genius. And the emotion is, you are a genius. And they're matching. And I know I'm locked in there, right? Like, am I a genius? Am I not a genius? Who knows? Is anyone? Reality is just what you define it to be and feel it to be, right? Again, borrowing from Dr. Joe Dispenza, your personality are your thoughts, your emotions, and then ultimately your actions, which are driven by your thoughts and emotions. So when you can get all three working in concert, you are now that personality, which we've been confused on so many things. We've been told by many that personalities can't change, people can't change. That's a beautiful perspective. You can have that experience, but the only reason you can have that experience, paradoxically, is because personalities are completely changeable and easily changeable. And reality will confirm for you it's not, but only because it completely is. So understanding you can completely change your personality by wanting to change it and by playing with it, you'll find those coherent states. And for me, the healing was just, he used science, matter to matter, because I was in a matter paradigm, saying he was showing how incoherent thoughts all day long cause physiological effects in the body. Chemicals get dumped into your bloodstream as soon as you're feeling fear that are measurable. And then they can measure the effects of how that downregulates all sorts of genes, downregulates your immune system. All sorts of things are very provable scientifically. So all it took was him showing that data and then saying, if your thoughts can literally make you sick and it's completely provable, you think your thoughts could make you healthy if they just go in the other direction. And I was like, oh my God. And that was the gateway. And now I don't really recognize or don't play in a matter to matter paradigm anymore. I'm in a consciousness projecting matter paradigm. But it was that first step, and I love that you're taking the first step by taking this action to be on these calls with Rob and working with Rob. The little step moving in the direction starts to amplify and amplify over time. All hugely successful people, if you hear their stories, they all like started with a little step, stumbled and crashed and burned, and then got back up and took another step and crashed and burned. And most of them talk about how much they love it, right? They give it a positive meaning. Oh, sweet. Like Einstein, or not Einstein. Well, we could talk Einstein too. Thomas Edison, who invented the light bulb. I forget how many ideations of the light bulb he had initially. I think it's in the 100 or over 100. He was playing around with different things. And as I understand his story, he would say, perfect, one less way I know it doesn't work. Now I'm more clear on what does work. And he was giving it that positive meaning and enjoying the process. I recognize if you don't enjoy the process and aren't having fun, it's pretty much like impossible to get reality to reflect back an enjoyable outcome.
What else could we ask John?
I like the silence too. I
Yeah,
like
that's
being
good.
okay with
That
silence.
space in between. I love it. We're seeing what's going to flow through and arise effortlessly with ease.
I am
Yeah, I
noting it's
think
7-Eleven. Oh, go on.
yeah, just so amazing to be able to talk these topics with you because you can't do that in the workplace or family meetings. I'll be considered mad if I do that. But I know deep down this is the truth. So yeah, and some people will
The
relate with that.
Yeah, I totally see myself in you, which is what everyone does. We're all
Mm.
projecting each other. And I still embody that perspective where I know I'm perceiving truth. I know what the truth is. And then I receive thoughts about other people or places in my reality where I would know the perspective that is true would not be accepted per se. And
Mm.
it's interesting because those people and those locations are not actually here right now, and they're never actually there in the moment where I'm experiencing the truth. And the truth is too, in this moment, like the three of us are experiencing this and know we all have slightly different perspectives, but overall they're pretty coherent. We're all pretty much in the same thought frequency and the same emotional frequency about it, and that is the truth of the moment. And studying quantum physics in relation to time and space, recognizing there really is no time and there really is no space, is another recognition to myself to like chill out and lean more into the present moment. And also see the more I take these steps and practice and take opportunities to discuss this concept, the more I'll see people who in my old paradigm would never accept or embrace this belief say something when I see them where I'm like, what did you just say that? Like, this reality has to be a projection of my consciousness because people who I never expected to change, but never insisted on changing, just continued practicing my thing, will suddenly change in the most coherent way to match what I'm putting out. And those moments are so cool and provide such proof to me that it's getting harder and harder to slip back to the old paradigm because more and more proof that matches the new paradigm is coming.
Wow, yeah. Yeah, it would be amazing to see people around me shifting in perspective.
We're
It
around you
feels,
right now with a shifted perspective. So
yeah.
you've already called us into your consciousness. Here we are. Hi.
Yeah, you literally have. And
You pulled us in.
it starts small like anything. It starts
Yeah,
with
we're
one
right here
person,
with
then
you.
two person. I went through the same thing. Now I have a huge group in both South Florida and Phoenix where I spend most of my time.
Yeah.
I have huge groups now. And I've realized the other day, I think I used to hang out with people who had other perspectives,
Yeah.
but my entire friend group now
Change, right?
is all in on this perspective because I started just going to more and more hangouts and having more and more conversations with people who had this same perspective. And I'm realizing like the news or I don't even know, other data streams, the internet will show me that these groups of people who have different perspectives than I do exist. But when I look at my own actual personal experience, not listening to what other things are saying or other data streams are presenting, if I look at my experience, I actually am completely surrounded by it now. And it was my memory shows me it was a little process 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, 20. Now it's everyone. And part of that too, I've realized true unconditional love, or my definition of true unconditional love, is allowing everyone and everything to be as it is. If we're all just consciousness playing a fun game, almost like you're a person playing a computer game with other people, the stuff that's happening in these shared digital worlds really, it's not that serious. And if one of your friends like in one of these shared computer video games wants to go do something stupid in the video game, you could almost like laugh at it and be like, go you, man. Like I know we're all friends, I know it's all cool, I know this is a video game and you're choosing to go do whatever in the game, like that's cool, that's totally cool. You wouldn't freak out or need any change in that behavior. So by envisioning the perspective that's what's happening here and knowing it, I can chill out in that. Silence feels good.
I know. I can see him being the kind of guy who would interview, like he'll interview you and then he'll hold the silence and then seeing how the how everyone else around them is how they're reacting to the silence, and then the silence will all of a sudden something will come through, and it'll come through at the right timing. It'll be like really authentic, and it'll be so different than how other people are doing like interviews, almost like his like his almost his own flavor that I see that would be welcomed into the world.
I feel your vibe, Jensen. I feel like Rob, you push out the vibe because we know vibration is not words. It's
No.
not really actions. I mean, your
It's that
actions and
energy
words do come
behind it
from
that
it.
you can you feel the energy behind like when he's when he does say something, like you feel that, and even in the silence you feel it's almost like he's in that presence frequency. He's holding that presence frequency of of whole and relaxed, and then when he speaks it's like whew,
Feel it. You're there.
feeling it. What did you think about that perspective that he just said, Jensen?
Well, I thought this the viewers wouldn't appreciate the silence, but yeah, you saying that it could be, yeah, it's a different perspective, yeah. Because yeah, it was never about the words. In my case, it was David Bingham who I had a call with David Bingham, and then I was self-realized, and I didn't really get any of what he was saying because yeah, what do you mean by I'm infinite being? I'm just a normal person. But after that call, I had causeless joy arising effortlessly, and things started to shift energetically. So I know that it isn't really about the words.
I love that phrase, causeless joy.
Mm.
I like David's work too. I've listened to him a bunch. I haven't met with him, but just listening on YouTube and other interviews, right on. And it's cool. You see again that idea of taking a little step to meet with him to arrange that. How cool. And then even if you're not consciously understanding that step with that intention and that meaning and understanding cause the outcome of the causeless joy, and ultimately the truth of recognizing perhaps causeless joy is almost the status quo. That is the norm. um it's the inverse might be like equally true, like cause discord. The baseline is everything is joy unless I choose to make a cause for discord. Like it's inverting this paradigm of we need
Yes,
something to feel happy.
there it is.
Happiness is actually the baseline.
Yeah,
It's only assigning a negative meaning to something which causes
yeah.
like the discordant experience, and it becomes fun. And I experience that a lot. What you term causeless joy, or you term causeless joy, how cool. And realize, wow, the happiness is just arising. The more and more I practice it, the more and more it naturally is recognized.
Almost like the natural state is already peaceful, joyful. There's always this underlying peace and joy that's here. It just seems like when thoughts come, people are personalizing them, especially like the limited ones, and then they're having those life experiences. But our default state is always just this silence, this presence, this peaceful, causeless joy that's already here. And then a thought will come and say you don't have it, or this will make it something, or it'll always like you said, it's like inverted, but we're always remaining as the infinite being that's all peaceful, all whole, and all complete. It's just that the thoughts are coming in telling us that we're not, or there's something else out there, or something that we can get it outside ourselves or something.
The hardest part is over. It's so far over. And the hardest part, which really isn't the hardest, is maybe the coolest and most fascinating. We as consciousness intentionally chose to like shroud ourselves in a vibrational pattern of making us believe we're something we're not. The initial step of going from infinite consciousness to take that shrouding to confuse ourselves. I mean, if there's anything that could be equated to like hell or fear or anything, it would be that moment from my perspective. And everything is up. Like as soon as you take that step, everything is up from there. By default, it has to be, because consciousness could never really contain itself. But we're so far up recognizing we're consciousness, recognizing what's going on here and intentionally cultivating and playing it with that way. We're all like rocket ships right now. We know we're already home. There's nowhere else to be other than here and now. There is nothing other than here and now. We're consciousness. As the avatar, though, as the character, the ego, we are rockets just at hyper speed, returning back to the physical reality experience that is that instant manifestation and the recognition that we're in heaven right now. We never actually left. We just chose to fool ourselves with a vibrational pattern. For the awesomeness of it, the bravery of it, the excitement of it. This is the ultimate plane of experience. The ultimate like badasses, the ultimate deep divers come
I
here
love
for
that.
this experience. There's
That
nothing
energy.
like this.
Yeah, I mean, and sometimes like when I'm doing miracles with people, like some of them when they first realize, that they're the infinite being, or they realize their true nature, whatever you want to call whatever this is. A lot of times they get in that honeymoon stage where they're just like all blissed out, and they're not really re-engaged back into the human experience. They're just kind of, and some of them might feel like detached from whatever, going back into the human experience. And so I've been, for some reason, that seems to be what's been coming up on a lot of my mirror calls. Now, I'm not saying with Jensen, I'm just saying like in general, being that you said that, because I really sense that you're re-engaged back into the human experience and really given that purpose again. So taking that self-realization that we already, when we knowing what we are, and then putting that back into the human experience, you can really feel the aliveness and the excitement, like when you're speaking and living your best life and making, we're here, we still have this body, there's still a world here, there's still relationships, there's still, life experiences that we can experience, and taking that aliveness. It's almost like the human experience becomes more like more playful. It takes the seriousness out of it because you kind of lose that fear that kind of just melts away after self-realization because you realize, that you're the indestructible infinite being. So you don't really have that fear of death anymore or that care of what other people think anymore. That kind of just, drops away. And you just kind of like just expressing authentically, how you feel and you want to feel good and you want to have fun and you want to have joy and you kind of just like listen to that. So when it feels expansive, you're kind of following that. If it feels contracted or restricted, you kind of like, that's really not for me. And you really feel empowered. Like I can give my attention to this thought. I can give my attention to this belief. I don't have to believe that thought. I can just let that one go. I can decline that invitation and I could always just rest right here as effortless being. It takes no effort just to be. I'm whole and complete already. And it's almost like now when I take inspired action, it's from fullness. It's like I'm already full, and I'm just expressing this fullness, this abundance all around, with whatever's coming up. So it's just kind of like a different flavor that you kind of experience, after you know it, like you have that conviction that comes up, like there's like no doubt, like so like it's almost like that energy behind the words. You can feel that conviction of knowing what you truly are, and it kind of just spills out everywhere.
So beautifully said. And
It
it's
just came through.
bringing, it's a perfect full circle back to the book. The book for me was that experience and that practicing of integrating effortless being and law of attraction, integrating consciousness and physical matter,
Yeah.
bringing the two together to be the bridge between the non-physical vibration and the physical experience. And I was having a moment as you were speaking, being like, wow, how cool. I did that book for me. And now we're here with Jensen.
Yeah.
And this great conversation is a result of that book that I really did for me to like bridge the two parts. And I love the candle analogy. We just keep lighting more and more candles.
Yes.
It doesn't do anything to the candle to light other candles except
No,
create more light in the room.
I
You have,
love it.
infinite flame.
What do you think about that, Jensen?
Yeah, it is. It is the infinite flame. And I'll be bringing the flames to Korea.
Bring it to Korea. Yeah, he feels like called to, in Korea to be able to get this message out about consciousness and self-realization and expressing it there. And so he actually is translating one of my books, Awakening to Effortless Being. He's translating that into the Korean language. And so now I'm telling everybody, hey, if you need somebody to translate your book into Korean, he's your guy, and he feels like he wants to get the message out in Korea. And there's I really feel like there's something about like when you have the book in your own language, and he was talking about that as he's translating it. Maybe say something about that, like when the book is in your own language, talk about how that plays out.
Yeah, it felt different. It was more profound. And you two said that writing this new book was the most selfish thing you could do. And I could relate that. Translating your book was the most selfish thing I could do. And I don't mind if it doesn't get published. And I was the one who got the most benefit out of it. And yeah, it was such a joy. It is such a joy translating it. I'm on my last chapter. And I think, yeah, it'll be done like this month.
That's beautiful. Yeah, so he's enjoying the process of it. Even if he's like, even if nobody even reads the book that he's translated in Korea, he don't care because he's relating to what you said, John. Now he was doing it for himself, for the selfishness of it. But what we don't realize is that it has a trickle effect and other people are benefited by it. And so when we're in our joy, that joy is just spreading. And who knows with Jensen, maybe he translates our book if he feels resonance for it or whatever.
I would love to, yeah.
There you go. So maybe
Love to,
you
yeah.
get a translate. We can have our book in Korea, John. There you go. Korea.
Very cool. It's awesome too, knowing nothing about Korea, Jensen. If there's not that many people there or anyone there with this broader understanding and consciousness, I was recognizing how cool that could be. You're in a location where you could be like a pioneer,
Yeah, definitely a
the
pioneer.
forerunner.
Yeah, what's it like over there? Like, do they have many books out on self-realization or consciousness? or the stuff that we're talking about on this call? What's it like over there?
There are plenty of books related to law of attraction and a Buddhist interpretation of this spirituality. And of course, all the Buddhists, saying they have that this non-duality and stuff, but uh like me saying that in normal clothes would help normal people in Korea that yeah, we all can access to this basic truth without going to monastery, without meditating for hours. Yeah.
That's cool. I see that power too in the modern representation, and most of the teachers I listen to, or guides that I listen to most often, have that modern element to them, and they actually recognize that. You go back to stuff that was written. I mean, there is no time, but you go back to stuff that was written hundreds of years ago. It's like the paradigm of that time. So bringing it into like real, what's
Yeah, it's
real
almost
right
like you had to go
now.
to India and sit with a, in satsang with somebody with flowers up, or or you
Yeah.
had to go through all of that, or somebody that they had the costumes on, or or like you said in the monastery. So I think in Korea, for the sense I'm getting from this call is it's still like that. They haven't really broken. It hasn't really come where there's somebody just you know like a Rupert Spire or whatever, just like in regular like talking about this, in plain clothes. Is that what you're saying? That it hasn't gotten to that point yet? There's really
Yeah,
nothing
yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
There is, I don't think there's any book related to the effortless being. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, so it's almost like he's like in that, like how maybe it was out here in the West, where you just went to like a satsang, or you had to go to India, and where you had to go into a monastery, to realize your true nature. Now over there, it's kind of like that, and almost like he's like the pioneer of bringing it out in somebody, and just like that, that looks just like you. That's normal. He's normalized. He's taken away the hierarchy, with self-realization. It's almost like I have something you don't have, and you have to go through this way. So now what he's showing by bringing the message there is, we're all the same. There's no hierarchy. Everyone has access to this. You don't have to go through someone, or look a certain way to have this. It's all within you. So it's almost like, you're the sovereign being. You're not getting it from someone else. Like it's for you. You have it. You're empowered to have it. You don't have to get it from someone else. There's no hierarchy here. We're all the same. And I think that's the message that he's bringing over there.
Yeah, it seems like you kind of know where you want to go. Again, we can't help but project ourselves. So I'm projecting myself onto you and
Yeah,
recognizing
I
I
am too, I
see
guess.
you like, I see where I want to go. Even like with stocks, for example, when that first started, I was like, hey, that looks like really interesting. And then I started looking at it and being like, I think I see patterns. I think I see where I can go into this pattern. And it's like drawing me there, and it seems fun and interesting, and taking the little step there. So I'm seeing that same vibration reflected in you, being like, oh, I know what's interesting. I see kind of where I want to go. I see exactly where I fit. And it's that following of it. I have no doubt you would have immense success. No doubt, perhaps it could be a journey like Steve Jobs, right? You crash and burn a few times, but you keep getting up, and before you know it, you have one of the most valuable companies on the planet of the earth, purely by following that joy, that excitement, that interest, and continually seeing, I think I could go there. I think I can do this. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for having it's really inspirational. Your message was so powerful.
That's
This was a
awesome.
lot of fun for me. This is the best way to start my day.
I know, isn't
So
it
thank
awesome?
you.
Before we
Yes.
close, though, I wanted to bring up Abraham Hicks cruise coming up in March.
I am
Where's
excited to be there. I'm planning to be there for the Panama Canal.
I know I saw you were on the Facebook group talking about we've joined that to get everybody's building anticipation for that. Maybe talk to Jensen about what the energy is like there on the Abraham Hicks cruise.
Speaking of being surrounded by people who share your perspective, whoa, how about being on a ship of a couple of thousand people, most of them
Yeah.
sharing the perspective? It's a really cool experience. It's cool not only because you have the workshops where Abraham is offering these perspectives during a session, but then when you leave the sessions and you're in ports or just cruising or whatever, you're surrounded by tons of people who are eager and excited to embrace that same perspective. So it's a saturation point and a saturation experience in the best possible way. And I'm recognizing right now it even gives it's benefit, benefit, benefit. But the end of the cruise, a lot of people choose to recognize a dip in vibration at the end, but it's an opportunity then in how you assign meaning to it to be able to carry that vibration back then in and integrate it as you return to wherever you want to return to. But it's one of the coolest experiences of saturation, and then one of the coolest experiences of like reintegrating. Right, you were in like a monastery for a week and now it's your opportunity, it's go time to reintegrate it and be really aware of your thoughts and what you're doing when you go like back, even though you can never go back. Can't step in the same river twice, as they say, but reintegrate that after.
Yeah, I just think the energy is like nothing else I've ever seen in being in that immersive environment. I've got a lot of friendships, a lot of connections, and out of being on those cruises and being in that environment. So, whenever I have a chance to share that with someone, that I feel like would resonate, I love to share that with people.
Absolutely, I'd highly recommend.
I think about that,
Yeah, I should
Jensen.
probably sign up for that then.
It's got to feel like a hell yes. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't help but signing up, yeah.
Yeah, you'll know when the time is right. Always trust yourself. I found myself several times saying I'm not going to do any more Abraham cruises, and then several mornings I woke up out of meditation, I open my laptop and I go, huh, my body's like doing this. I'm like, huh, my body's going on the internet. Huh, my body's going to abrahamhicks.com. Huh, apparently I'm signing up for a cruise right now. Like this idea of the avatar not actually making the decisions, but the consciousness and state of being driving the ego avatar to do stuff. Experientially, it's real for me. So you'll do what you do, and it'll whatever you do will be absolutely perfect.
yeah, it's almost like you get like that inspiration comes through, and it's like you're watching the avatar just go and doing it, and you're moving from that inspired action, and it just kind of becomes like an easy, obvious next flow thing that you just do, just like breathing. It's just hey, this is the next logical step. It's obvious, and I guess this is where it's leading, and it feels good. It feels expansive, and you kind of just follow the flow instead of the resistance. It's almost like even with just closing out with abundance, it's just all it is just allowing what's already coming to us naturally as our birthright, abundance. It's almost when we put up the resistance to things is when it doesn't come, and we're kind of holding it away. So just having that relaxed feeling, knowing what we truly are, knowing that we're already whole, knowing that we're already abundant, and then just following that our highest joy, that inspired action that just naturally flows through. And for me, this call was beautiful with that. This is what I enjoy doing. I love bringing people together, talking about these things and having them have the realizations. It's a lot of fun for me, so I really enjoy, and I'm happy that both of you could join the call.
Thanks for the invitation. Definite gift for me as well. Generated so many good feeling emotions.
Definitely.
That's the gold.
Anything else, Jensen, you want to close out with?
Yeah, thank you so much for bringing everyone here. Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, and like I said, you have a really natural ability. I like the way that you when you were interviewing John here on the call, asking him questions. If the questions were great, it was natural, and I love the silence that you have in between. I think that brings another element that I haven't really seen out there. So, and I think that it's going to be welcomed. And I love what you're doing in Korea, and I loved how you're following your passions and you're not letting fear stop you. And, you're finding that, that you can just flow with it and you can follow your intuition. Your intuition's been guiding you this whole time, and continue to trust your intuition, that feeling of expansiveness, and follow your joy, and don't let anybody stop you. There's no fear. There's nothing serious going on here. It's fun. Life's meant to be fun and playful. And I love what you're doing. And you're a great example of someone who's, following their joy and stepping into what lights them up. And you're actually taking inspired action. It's not just head knowledge for you, but you're actually putting it into your everyday life. And I think that's a great example.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll echo that 100%. Pleasure, Jensen.
All right, Jensen, we'll meet next week then.
Yeah, see you next week.
Yep. Much love, much joy. John will be in touch. I'm excited about the book.
Take care, guys. It's been a pleasure.
Yes. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Bye.